Hello, and welcome to Beautiful Work, Beautiful Life. Whether you're joining us for the very first time or you've been with us on this journey since the beginning, it is so good to have you here with me today. I'm Laurel Boivin, co-host of Beautiful Work, Beautiful Life podcast. I'm also a life and leadership coach. I coach individuals who are ready to experience more confidence, connection, and fulfillment in their personal lives and their professional lives. If you're new to this show, I want you to know that Beautiful Work, Beautiful Life is a space where we come together and explore inner work and what it means to live with intention, authenticity, heart, and purpose. My co-host, Laurel Holland, is also a life coach and an author. Her wisdom and presence bring such depth to our conversations. She's not here today, but she will be back in the coming weeks, so be sure to tune in each and every Monday. Today, it's just you and me, and we're talking about something that I am working on in both my personal life and professional life, and I have a feeling it's going to be a lifelong learning journey for me. Our topic today is leadership. Yes, leadership. Now, I know there's a million resources about leadership. There are classes and podcasts, courses, books, but today we're going to be approaching it a little bit differently. I want to ask you if you've ever found yourself feeling like you're doing all the right things when it comes to leadership, but something still feels off. If you're craving more authenticity, clarity, or ease with how you lead, this conversation is with you. If I were to ask you what leadership means to you, what would you say? Leadership is commonly defined as the ability to guide, influence, or inspire individuals or groups to achieve a common goal. Leadership is often associated with certain skills or abilities or a position. But it seems to me that leadership has more to do with presence than with abilities or position. It's less about authority and more about alignment. It's about alignment with your values, with your purpose, and the impact you want to make. It's also about how you show up, which is why our focus today is not simply leadership, but what it really means to lead from the inside out. We're going to explore why leading from within matters, how to practice it, and how it can transform not only your leadership skills and style, but your whole life. So let's begin with why leading from the inside out matters. Have you ever noticed that leadership is often associated with how much we do, with our title, our rank, our role, the number of direct reports we have, or length of time we've been at a company? And it's measured by how much we do, by the results we get, by the metrics we're tracking, by the checklist and productivity that we are striving for. We're trained to keep busy. We are conditioned to keep busy, to stay in motion, and to keep up with others, and to lead from the head, to use our brain, to be smart. What if I told you that the most impactful, sustainable leadership doesn't come from the head or from our busyness or productivity? The most impactful leadership, the most sustainable leadership, starts within. Leading from the inside out means anchoring your leadership in self-awareness, emotional integrity, and alignment with your values. It's the difference between performing leadership and embodying it. So, what exactly is embodied leadership? Well, embodied leadership is a way of leading that starts from the inside out. It's about aligning your actions, your presence, and your decisions with who you truly are at your core. Rather than relying on intellect or external strategies, embodied leadership invites you to bring your whole self, your mind, your body, your heart, and your intuition into the way you show up in the world. Here's what embodied leadership really involves. It's all about presence. It's about being present. Embodied leaders are fully present in their bodies, in the moment, and with the people around them. They listen deeply, they speak with authenticity, and they create space for others to do the same. It's about congruence. What you say, how you say it, and how you are all line up. You are consistently showing up as yourself. Your values, your beliefs, your behaviors are all in sync. This builds trust and safety and clarity for yourself and for others. It's also about self-awareness and self-regulation. Embodied leadership draws on practices like mindfulness, breath work, somatic awareness, and emotional intelligence. When you're grounded in your own body, you can respond rather than react. You make clearer, wiser decisions, even when you're under pressure. Embodied leadership is also about connection. You lead not from control, but from relationship. You know that leadership is not about directing others, but co-creating an environment where everyone can thrive. And lastly, and maybe most importantly, embodied leadership is all about integrity and wholeness. It honors that leadership is a felt experience. It is not simply a skill set. Embodied leadership allows you to increase your impact and significance. Now, I know that impact and significance might sound as though it's coming from the ego, but I assure you it's not. When you believe in your purpose, when you show up as yourself, when you show up with authenticity and vulnerability, your impact and significance in the world is greater. And serving the world is not about ego. So now that we've talked about why leading from the inside out is important, let's talk for a minute about how we can actually do that. Day in and day out, how can we lead from within? There are three key foundations I see all the time in my own life and in my coaching practice. Now, these are not quick fixes, but they are powerful practices that create real, lasting change, and they are essential when it comes to leading from the inside out. The first one is awareness. Leadership begins with awareness, noticing your patterns, your behaviors, your tendencies, tuning into your emotional landscape, your emotions and thoughts, and then creating space to ask yourself, what's really going on here? Am I seeing this situation objectively, or am I getting in my own way? Do I have blind spots? This is where we need to pause and get really honest with ourselves, because what we're not aware of, we can't change. What we are aware of, we can transform. A leader with self-awareness leads with grounded confidence, not from ego, but from clarity. The second key element or foundational element is alignment. Once we are aware, once we have self-awareness, the next step is to align. Ask yourself, are your actions reflecting your values? Are you living in alignment with your values? Does the way you are showing up match who you want to be? Alignment brings integrity, and integrity builds trust with your family, with your friends, with your colleagues, with your team, and most of all, most importantly, with yourself. Alignment is what makes leadership feel like a natural extension of who you are. It no longer feels like a role that you're trying to play. When you are in alignment, leadership comes naturally. The third key foundation is action, because when we take action from that place of clarity and alignment, things change. Intentional action is where your inner world shapes your outer impact. Whether you're speaking up, setting boundaries, making a change, implementing changes in your life, or choosing rest instead of hustle, every action becomes a reflection of the leader you're choosing to be in your life, at home, at work, in your community. Doing the inner work will help you become the leader who leads from the inside out. That's what it did for me. There was a time in my own leadership journey when everything looked successful on the outside. I was exceeding in my corporate role. I was checking all the boxes. I was focused on outcomes. I was reaching milestones and achieving goals. But something felt off. Something inside was not aligned. I was exhausted. I was disconnected, and I started to question if the life I was living was all there was. I remember going through the motions, surviving the day to day, and I was thinking, there's got to be something more to life than this. It was uncomfortable, and that discomfort was an invitation for me. It was an inner nudge that asked me to slow down, to dig deep, to listen, to check in with myself, to get clear, and to lead myself differently. When I began doing the inner work, getting clear on my values, reclaiming my boundaries, choosing intention over obligation, everything changed. I decided to leave my corporate job and find work that allowed me to honor my values, my boundaries, and myself. Inner work not only changed me, it really changed my life. It taught me to step up, to be the leader of my life, to be the creator of my life. I want to tell you another story about stepping into leadership, and that's a story about one of my clients, Kate. She really experienced something similar as a result of doing inner work. She was a member of the leadership team at a company where she had been working for 24 years. She was trying her best to be assertive and decisive because that's what she thought she had to be in corporate leadership. The reality was she was exhausted, she was overwhelmed, she was unfulfilled. We began working together and she began doing the inner work. Her self-awareness increased, she had more clarity and confidence, and she began showing up both at work and at home with authenticity and vulnerability. She was able to step into a leadership approach that allowed her, her team, and her relationships to thrive. And that's what I want for you too. I want you to thrive. I want you to step into the leadership role in your life that you were born to live. So with that, I have a few journal prompts for you, questions for you to consider as you step fully into being the leader you were born to be. I'll put all of these journal prompts in the show notes so that you can go back to them later. The first is, where in your life or in your work are you being called to come back to yourself? The second, what does alignment look like for you right now? What does it look like to live in alignment? And the third one is, what is one small action, one small step you could take this week to lead from within? You really are the leader of your life. And when you lead from a place of awareness, alignment, and authenticity, your work becomes not just effective, but beautiful. Your life becomes beautiful. So that wraps it up for us today. I want to just remind you, you will find my contact information and Laurel Holland's contact information in the show notes. Please reach out to us at any time if you need support on your inner work journey, if you need support and guidance stepping into a leadership role. And if today's episode resonated with you, I'd love you to share it with a friend, a colleague, or someone else who's walking their own leadership journey. And if you haven't done so yet, it would mean the world to me if you were to leave a review for the podcast. It helps us reach more people. It helps more people find us and join our growing community of heart-centered leaders. Thank you for spending time with me today. I hope you'll keep listening, keep aligning, and keep doing your own beautiful work so that you can create your beautiful life, one intentional action at a time. Until next time, be well, be intentional, be yourself.